Everybody could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'll take the roll call starting with Everett.
Everett Clark.
Kathy Grillo.
Jason Henry.
Jay Fitzpatrick.
Peter Levitt.
Diane Byron.
Bob Collison.
Heidi Duper.
Eunice Landry.
Karen Caritono. Lila Adkins.
Pam McLeod.
I'm Abigail Thomas.
Hi, Abigail. Okay, I'm going to move the settlement request right up to right now. I'm going to be making a statement. As chair of the Prospect Mountain School Board, I routinely respond to correspondence on behalf of the school board. On November 7th, I received an email from Jeffrey Clay regarding a confidential settlement with the Prospect Mountain School Board regarding an editorial written by Stephen Miller acting in his capacity as an Alton taxpayer. I responded to Mr. Clay's email indicating that the board was electing to decline his offer and providing a copy of my response to all school board members. And I'll give you a moment to read my response.
Sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to endorse the letter from Ms. Byer to Mr. Clay.
Second.
Any discussion?
Could you repeat the motion? We couldn't hear you.
I made a motion to endorse the letter.
To endorse the letter?
Yes, from Ms. Byer to you.
Eunice, you seconded it?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was unanimous? Okay. I will now open public input.
My name is Jeffrey Clay. I want to read to you what you just endorsed, okay? Based upon the foregoing, the board, this is from her letter, November 8th, the board has elected to decline your proposal for a confidential settlement. The board. This is a falsified public document. Robert Collison and Diane, I'm calling for their resignations tonight. I've already filed with law enforcement today. The fact that they falsified this public document, you cannot do it. It is a crime. They cannot, according to the law. In fact, they even violated right to know law. Every one of you who just endorsed this letter ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Because what they did was these three people got together and made a decision outside of the board without you, without consulting you, and decided to take this action. And it says so right here. So what you just did was you just endorsed criminal behavior. You just endorsed criminal behavior violating the right to know law. You just endorsed it. You just endorsed her falsification of a public document. Congratulations. What kind of people are you made of? Where is you all took the same oath, right? Do you remember taking that oath to obey the laws of this state? And now you willfully sit there and you violate that by endorsing a false document? I'm calling for both of them to resign tonight. The charges against them have been filed. I hope they go to court. I hope they get prosecuted. I hope they get found guilty. And I hope they get sentenced appropriately. You cannot do this, and you people cannot. In all good conscience, I'm calling on every one of you to resign now for endorsing this letter. Every single one of you. Because you just endorsed violation of right to know. You just enabled and said it's okay for these three people to get together and make decisions without you, and to falsify and say that, oh, by the way, the board has already elected you to do this. Shame on every single one of you. It has nothing to do with the settlement offer I made. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with integrity. Robert Carlson, I've always thought of you in high esteem. I want you to resign. You broke the law. You know you broke the law, and you and Diane should not even be here tonight. I spoke to him before tonight that I was going to be here, and that's probably why this man is here right now. That's exactly why she read what she did already into the record, and why she moved it up on the agenda. Shame on all of you. You're criminals. You're a criminal, and you're a criminal. And this man, you need to fire him. Isn't there one of you right here tonight with the gumption to stand up and say, hey, you know what? We have policies. Here's the policies concerning contacting the attorney. Here's the policies for making judgments outside of the body. I want this introduced to the record, every document that I have here. But let's see, who can I trust to get this into the record? Certainly not you, Mr. Cullison. Certainly not you. Not you, because you did the same thing with the other board. I'd have you all put in jail. I really would. Let me see, I'm going to pick this lady right here. She didn't vote. The rest of you have disrespect. These children go to this school hoping, and they're under your control, to obey your policies. And you have the audacity to break every policy known to mankind. Shame on you. Resign, not you, honey, you're okay. Resign, 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 resign. You shouldn't even be sitting at the table. Resign, resign, resign. You broke the law tonight, you endorsed violation of law, and every student in this building should, I hope they all rally and throw you all out. I'll be speaking again next time. Honest to God, didn't you take an oath? Stand up and walk out and resign. Good God.
Do we have anyone else for public input?
Yeah, it's great. They're in smile. I hope you go to prison.
Do we have anyone else for public input? If you could state your name for the recorder, please.
Criminals.
David Allen from Barnstead, and I'm here tonight in my capacity as chair of the Barnstead Capital Improvement Plan.
To us in the letter. Guys are criminals. I'm sorry, honey. You're a school of criminals who are leaving you. Shame on you.
I believe we have someone that is speaking in public input, so I would ask you to please.
You want to obey your rules, right?
ahead,
Really?
Mr. Brown.
How do you get that?
What I've given you is not the full plan, but those sections of it that relate to the high school. And just flipping through it quickly, there's a list of members of the committee. Then there's the history of Barnstead capital improvements, broken down by the department or school where those come. You see the bottom blue, dark blue section is the high school, significantly largest capital expenditure, as it should be, with the bond to build the school, which has been an incredibly valuable investment by the community. And then we have a chart showing the investments or the amounts requested by departments and boards for the next 8 years. You see there's a drop-off in 2024 and 2025. That's because that's following the end of the payments on the bond. And although we heard during the capital improvement process discussion about things that departments and boards would like to make expenditures on, we did not get any specific requests. So those do not show. And then the chart showing the recommendations. And then there are 3 spreadsheets. The first shows what the committee has recommended for the capital improvement expenditures, where there is red shading, that means that in that area we have made a recommendation that is different from the request. And in this case, for the athletic field, the request was to increase the annual amount that going into that from $20,000 shared by the two towns to $40,000 shared by the two towns. And we did not see the expenditures needed in the future to justify that increase. So we recommend $10,000 for the next 4 years, and then would perhaps look at an increase to $20,000. And the replacement of the HVAC units, just attempting to show that the request for those is for the expenditures to come out of some combination of the general maintenance fund and perhaps leftover funds in the operating budget. And so that would have no impact on the tax. And in that case, we are accepting the recommendations. And then the next page shows precisely the requests from the high school, and the final page shows the last 8 years of history, which is what we have used and the Barnstead Planning Board has used as a guideline for our targets in Barnstead as to what we should be spending on an annual basis on capital improvements. So the only place really where there's any disagreement is related to the funds going into the athletic maintenance field fund. And I understand that you sent the budget on with that included, but my understanding is that it will come back to you at another point in the process, and perhaps you can reconsider at that point. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Allen? We'll take it under advisement, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I do have one, though. I didn't get the spreadsheets on the back. Do you have one? Never mind. Thank you. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Okay, and I'm going to be closing public input.
Well, I'd like to speak again in the public input.
You've already spoken for your time, and you.
It doesn't say anywhere that you're limited to one time. There's only two. There are only two people here.
We have a second public input, so we're going to move on with our meeting. So
Should you vote on that? Shouldn't you? I mean, are you a king up there or queen? You don't put it to a vote?
We will be moving on in our meeting. So I will take an agenda review. I would like to take the superintendent's contract, which is under personnel number 2, to move that to non-public. Is there any other changes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as modified.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Take a motion on the minutes for November 7th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 7th as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? Oh,
Second.
I wasn't here.
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll move on to board.
Abstentions on that?
One abstain.
Abstain.
Sorry, 2 abstentions, sorry. Okay, Okay, so we'll move on to board superintendent, principal, and student rep communications.
So I want to introduce Abby Thomas. Abby's a senior filling in for Tiffany tonight, who's playing in the home basketball game here. Abby is quite the leader around the building as well, involved in Future Business Leaders of America, as well as student council president of student council.
Yes.
And so she is an instrumental part of what goes on here on a daily basis. And if there's anyone that is suitable to fill in for Tiffany, it is Abby.
Big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now the classes are making a bulletin board for student council had assigned it, and it's due December 6th, and the theme is home from the holidays. So they're all working on it right now because it's due tomorrow. And the senior class just conducted a 25 days of Christmas raffle, and the members of the class we sold tickets over Thanksgiving break. And there was a winner for every day of the 25 days on the calendar, and there was also 3 bonus days, which had 2 winners. And we're also starting a prom committee. We've already set the date and the place for our prom. We just have to start brainstorming.
Okay, I only have 2 things to report this evening. The first, I received a letter from the New Hampshire Department of Education. On behalf of the state of New Hampshire, the New Hampshire Department of Education is requesting a waiver pursuant to Section 8401 020 USC 7861 of Section 1111(2) BV LAA of the Every Student Succeeds Act, Section 1112. Academic Assessments B, which requires a state educational agency use the same academic achievement standards and assessments respectively for all public school students in the state. The New Hampshire Department of Education seeks this waiver in an effort to reconcile New Hampshire House Bill 166 relative to assessments administered to pupils in grades 3 through 8, signed by Governor Christopher Sununu on June 5th and effective August 4th, 2017. The New Hampshire Department of Education requests this waiver to allow for continued state and local receipt of Title I Part A funding in good standing, while we will also balance local governance, statewide accountability, and federal requirements. This waiver is requested to begin in the 2017-18 school year. The New Hampshire Department of Education will continue to ensure that a common statewide assessment in reading, language arts, and mathematics is available for all students in grades 3 through 8 and once in high school, and that a common statewide assessment in science is available for all New Hampshire students once in elementary school, once in middle school, and once in high school. Such assessments will continue to be designed to measure the full range of the state's rigorous academic content standards. Now, the reason I read this letter this evening is they're asking for public comments. The New Hampshire Department of Education is inviting public comment on the waiver request. To submit the comment, you should email Sandra McDonald at the Department of Education by December 10th. All public comment received by December 10th will be transmitted to the United States Department of Education to inform their consideration of New Hampshire's waiver request. And I'll pass this letter on to Lynette so she can get that. The second thing I'd like to report on is that the tote board that we have outside the guidance office. At this date, we have 15 seniors who have received post-secondary acceptances, early admissions, and we're expecting other early admissions from the local colleges to be coming in at any day now. We're up 9 from last month, so congratulations to the job that the guidance department's doing and the senior class. Good job. Over to Jay.
Abby's covered a lot of what I would normally say, but just to update a couple of things. We did have our final numbers for first quarter honor roll. We had 181 students make first quarter honor roll. Which is a good number, very good number. NEASC update, we have at this point surveyed all of the students in the building, most of the students, most of the faculty, and we've made 2 pushes to survey families. And we are currently at 40% participation rate for families, which is a good number. It's about 15% more than what they require us to have. We're going to make one more push for the end of the month to see if we can get that number a little bit higher. So at this point, excuse me, the steering committee and the self-study committee, we've been meeting on a weekly basis. We will soon start dissecting this data. Our early indicators that the data is very positive. There are a lot of good feelings that folks have been sharing with us regarding their experience with Prospect. So we will continue to work on this. Our goal is by May, we have to have narratives written with evidence. We will be visited by 2 commission members from the ASC. They will come out, spend a couple of days with us looking through our evidence and reading our narratives, and from there we will generate, collectively generate a report, which is what we will work on for the next 2.5 years before our March 2020 accreditation visit. So unless anyone has any questions.
Is there any questions? Seeing none, turn it over to Policy Committee.
So, as the Policy Committee continues to review changes required by law and recommendations by the New Hampshire School Board Association, we have several policies to present to you with revisions. They're attached in your packet. And just briefly, the first 2 policies, EEAG and IJOA, are primarily revisions simply to make the insurance limits consistent in both policies. So the changes there are in green if anyone has any questions. If we look at policy IGE, parental objections to specific course material, that was simply adding language required by law that requires notice to parents within a certain time period. And same for IHAM. It had to do with parental notification, a change required by law. So the Policy Committee recommends accepting these revisions to these policies. Wait, did I miss one? DKA.
And the EBCA.
EBCA.
EBCA, okay. Changes to EBCA basically had to do with tightening up the language. This is a recommended policy, and changing where we report the information to. So it goes now to the Department of Education, not to Homeland Security. And on policy DKA, it was simply clarifying language that had to do with the payday schedule, as shown in the revision. So
we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the Policy Committee's policies, EEAG, IJOA, IGE, IHAM, EBCA, and DKA for a final reading.
You have a second? Second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you for all the work.
Is that all for finance?
that's all for policy, yeah.
All right, finance, vote your finance too?
Yeah. Okay, the Finance Committee has a donation to recommend to the board. I don't know if there's a copy in the main packet, so I will explain what it is. Basically, Clear Choice MD had an offer that any sports physicals that were done there for $25, they would offer a rebate of $15 back to the school. So the Finance Committee would like to recommend to the board that we accept a donation of $120 from Clear Choice MD that covers physicals that were done during the period of August 1st to September 15th, 2017.
I'll make a motion that we accept the donation from Clear Choice MD in the amount of $120.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
And we also spent the rest of our meeting today preparing for presentation of the budget to the Joint Budget Committee this Friday. That's all for the Finance Committee.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to personnel.
Yes, I have one position I'd like to recommend, and there's a typo. It should be Tracy, not Tacey.
No, it's Casey.
Is it Tacey? Well, it's a mistake then on the front. Okay, Tacey Weir of Chichester, New Hampshire, for our Spirit Squad coach.
I'll take a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the hiring of Tacey Weir as Spirit coach.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question. Is this a slot that's typically filled by an employee or a non-employee? As far as the stipend is concerned.
This position, last year we had employees in that position, but that has been the only time that we've ever had this position filled by employees.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
I have a question. I'm not familiar with the Spirit Squad.
Cheerleaders.
Oh.
You're showing your age.
Yes, you're right, I am.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we move superintendent into non-public. So we're now opening up our public input.
Board member authority, you just approved a whole bunch of policies. You're going to hold people accountable for those, right? But what authority, now that you all realize that you're violators yourselves, can you possibly hold any student or anybody else accountable for your policies? It says right here, because all powers of the joint body lie in the action of a group, individual board members exercising their authority over joint board affairs only as they vote to take action at a legal board meeting. Now, you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this person, this chairperson, violated that policy. But yet you don't do anything. You don't speak to it. Why should a student have to follow any policies in this school if you people are not going to lead the way? By the way, you have absolutely no honor, not one of you. If you had any honor at all, you know you broke the law, and you know you should not have endorsed. You would stand up, walk away, and resign for what you did. That's the honorable thing to do. This country is starving for honorable people to serve. We don't need people like you who are dishonorable, who have no character to lead. It is reprehensible. It is beyond my imagination that Superintendent Cullison, based on what he did, will receive one more penny of taxpayers' dollars. I will do everything in my power to ensure that does not take place for much longer. In addition to filing the stuff with the police department today, I am sending a copy of it to the Belknap County Attorney's Office. Tomorrow, based upon everything I heard tonight, I am also sending it to the New Hampshire State Attorney General's Office. I am also, if you don't know this, you folks actually come under the supervision of the State Board of Education. I'll probably make the trip there myself to speak with them. But if not, tomorrow they're going to receive a letter from me on your conduct, and I hope that they will all impeach you. But I will also send a letter to the Attorney General's office based on what you endorsed tonight, that you are unfit to serve in the positions that you are. You don't like this kind of conduct from me telling you what's what? Don't break the law. Have some dignity. Have some integrity. You stand up and you take responsibility for your actions. That's what the board policy says. And you know what? It's so reprehensible. You know for a fact that these four people at least got together before this meeting with this attorney and made decisions to go ahead and do what he just did. Do you think that's legal? It's not. Just because it wasn't a quorum? No. They have no legal authority to get together and discuss the actions of this board. Not with him, not with anybody else. You didn't vote for them to talk with him. They had no business doing that. You know it, but you sit there and you refuse. And I don't know you from Adam. But you look like a person who should have integrity. But you don't. Because if you did, you'd have stood up and walked out already. You said, I resign. I broke the law by endorsing this letter that she breaks the law, he breaks the law, and you people all side with him. If you have children at home, oh my God, they're going to be reading about this. Because I'm going to take this to the union leader, Foster's Daily Democrat. You can sit there and laugh all you want. I used to really have good respect for you also. But, you keep doing that. It's going to reflect poorly upon this school district, and it's your fault. And it's her fault, and it's his fault. Ask him. I dare you. Why don't you people even ask the questions? Ask him. Mr. Cullison, did you falsify the public document, as Mr. Clay says? But you won't ask him that. Because then he's going to have to do one of two things. He's going to either have to say, he have some honor and say, you know what, I did. I got together with Diane and the attorney, we wrote the letter, we didn't consult you, we didn't take it to a meeting, and we did that. I'm sorry. That's what Mr. Cullison should do. If he had any bit of integrity left, he would do that. Don't like this type of talk? Don't break the law. You are paid with our dollars. You volunteer for this, we elect you. But guess what? You receive a check, too. That's taxpayers' dollars. Isn't there enough fraud, waste, and abuse going on in our government today? And you people sit here, you lack integrity. Beyond. You know what? I'm going to call the accreditation. I used to know the people that work there. How do I know that you're not going to falsify the documents of the Accreditation Bureau? I'm going to send this to them and say, don't trust anything that this school board sends to you and says these students are doing. How do I trust in you that if you're willing to lie about this, how do I trust in you on the finances of this school district or anything else? I can't. You all go home tonight to your kids. I have kids too. And I'm going to tell them that you have no integrity, no honor. Young lady, I apologize for my comments tonight, for you have to hear them as a student, but you know what? This is the real world. And it's a crime for your superintendent and your chairperson of the school board to falsify a public document and present it as real. It's against the law. You know it, you did it, and you did it. I told you I was coming, and that's why you got together with him and you broke the law again. And I will take this right to know it also. That's another violation, because you can't do what you did. I am ashamed of all of you. You know what? I was ashamed mostly because you broke the law. Now I'm ashamed because you lacked the courage, the temerity to stand up and say, I did something wrong and I apologize and now I'm resigning. Because when you endorsed what she did, and if you don't think that was pre-planned, you're foolish. Karen, you know what I'm telling you is the truth. And if you had any integrity, you would stand up and walk out and say, I'm not going to be a party to this anymore. Layla, exact same thing. Pam, I don't know you from Adam, but you know. If you think I'm lying, you go ahead and say so. They broke the law, and you endorsed it. Have some integrity. Go home and tell your children you did the right thing, that you resigned. That goes to every single one of you. And as principal, I wouldn't. You have free reign to do it if you want. It's impossible for these two people or anybody else at this board to hold you accountable for any of your actions as principal. You know why? Because you got them right by the you know what. Because they're liars themselves. And they cannot hold you accountable to anything. You want to talk about Eric? Wait until you read the article that I'm going to write on this. And I'm going to absolutely contact the New Hampshire State Supreme Court Attorney Discipline Office. He had no business doing that with you. If you think you're going to get him to use tax dollars to defend you in court for falsifying public documents, forget it. That's not going to happen. That's not covered by this. You're on your own. And if he goes there, he'll be in trouble. He knows it. You're not going to use our tax dollars to pay for your criminal behavior. I am so upset with you people and disappointed beyond any rational thought. There's no integrity in this country anymore with public officials. None. 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 None.
Okay.
No
I'll make a
integrity
motion
is
to go into non-public under RSA 91-A, (3) Roman numeral 2A. Think of that the right one?
Is that for legal advice? Could you tell the audience
Nope,
that?
it is not for legal.
What's it for?
We're discussing the superintendent's contract.
Oh. I gotta vote for that one.
2B. It's 2B, right?
Do we
have a second?
Second.
Everett?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, we are now in non-public.